What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kicks and Picks podcast. The European club season may be over. The Champions League may be over, but Kicks and Picks podcast does not stop. We have Nations League this week, CONCACAF Nations League, and Euro 2020 something qualifiers. I don't even know when the next Euro is.
2024.
There you go. It's fucking right there. So Nick and Scotty here with you to break down all the action. Scotty, any thoughts? Let's talk about the Champions League really quickly. How would you say we fared?
I think we were pretty much right on with what we thought was going to happen. I think there were fewer goals than what we expected. I think Inter held out a little bit better than what I'd anticipated, because I had money line, and I think it was the total
Over 1.5.
over. Yeah, so it didn't quite cash on that one, but it didn't really feel like a game that Inter was going to win. I know the XG coach brought up in our group chat, was in favor of Inter, but I have my criticisms of how XG is calculated. They don't really consider who is in the situation and where the defenders are. They just kind of look at where the shot is taken from. And yeah, like Lukaku screwed the pooch in at least 2 different times in the last 10 minutes. So maybe that's where half that XG came from. But it really felt like City were largely in control, and it was a matter of when, not if, they were going to get on the score sheet.
Yeah, I almost feel like it was a game that neither side was trying to lose, at least for the first half of the game. I thought Inter played pretty well defensively. I mean, I don't think that was necessarily a surprise to us. I think we made mention of that, but City certainly had their chances. Listen, you nailed it, right? We both expected more goals. I know that I took live over two actually, and it was plus money. And that second goal just never came, right? City had chances. Onana made a couple of really good saves. Inter certainly had chances. A lot of shots, actually. A lot of shots that never made it to the target. So Inter did much better in possession than I think you or I expected. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yeah, I think that was our key to success when we were trying to say, like, hey, how is Inter potentially going to win this, right? Like, how do you see, if you wanted to take Inter, draw no bet at whatever it was, plus 350, plus 400, how are you expecting them to pull it off? And it was, hey, Inter is going to control possession and control the midfield, and Holland is going to be isolated and have, only a handful of touches, which is kind of what happened. The other thing that didn't really occur to us is injuries, right? Like, De Bruyne went down, basically played a half. And when that happened and it was still level, I was like, that was the one time I was like, something similar kind of happened with the Chelsea final. I think he picked up a concussion, right? De Bruyne picked up and that's how Chelsea stole their 1-0 win. And I was like, oh, like this is a similar, storyline here. So that was like the one time where I thought maybe there was a chance that Inter were going to come away with it, but they didn't really skip a beat. I think Gundogan had played really well. Obviously, Rodri
did not get a shot on target, though. I did have him, like, just we didn't give that out, but a day of, I made a decision that he was going to get a shot on target, and that did not happen.
So, but that's, a testament to City's depth. They kind of stepped in, played their parts all to a T. John Stone, I think, was a standout player as well. I think he had some weird stat where he had completed the most dribbles in a Champions League final since Messi and 2011 or something weird like that. So that's a fun trivia fact that you can kind of tuck away for the next pub trivia night that you guys go to.
Yeah. So it'll definitely be interesting to see where both teams go from here. And we'll get into that over the summer, but City did it, right? They got the treble, they got their Champions League. Obviously they'll hope to build on that with Haaland and Alvarez and everybody that they have. Inter, who is like massively in debt, we don't really know what to make of it, but things considered, had a really, really, really good year. Obviously made it to this final. Be interested to see who they're able to bring in or bring back, what's going to happen with Lukaku. So definitely some storylines to keep an eye on over the summer.
Yeah, I imagine they'll bring back Lukaku. I mean, Chelsea don't need that right now. But the question is really like, how much of the bill is Chelsea going to foot for his wages? Because, as you mentioned, Inter's not exactly flush with cash at the moment. But overall, good season. Would prefer to go out on top with a win. But all things considered, being a plus 600 favorite in the final against one of the best City sides in the last decade, which is saying something, can't really be too upset about how you ended up playing that match.
No, definitely not. So fun to see, fun match. we're definitely excited for next year. 2 years in a row, giving out European competition future winners. So definitely happy about that. So speaking of European competition, we got the Nations League final. For anybody that's really unfamiliar with this tournament, we kind of are too. Doesn't make sense. It's a fake UEFA tournament for national teams that they kind of threw in between years of the Euro. Don't get it, but this is, I think, the second iteration of it. So I guess it's an independent tournament each time. So we're down to 4 teams. We got Croatia taking on the Netherlands and Italy taking on Spain. So let's kick off with that Croatia Netherlands matches. The earlier of the matches, Wednesday, 2:45 Eastern time. Scotty, any thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, the good news is we should be pretty familiar with how both of these teams are going to set up based off of their, run in the World Cup 6 or so months ago. It hasn't been that long since we've had a major international competition. So, unlike a lot of the times where you come into these June matches and you don't really know who's going to be playing and what formations you're going to see, I think we have a decent idea here. I think in this match and also a little bit in obviously Italy and Spain in a bit. These feels like matches where goals will be at a premium. I like the unders in both of these. The under in this one pays a little bit more. I think it's minus 150. So certainly a heavy favorite. I would not expect either Netherlands or Croatia to come out and put up, 2 or 3 goals by themselves in either of these matches. So seems to be a defensive first one. The question for me is Croatia has been in this kind of, uh, golden era is the cliched term, but it really has been a great, run for them over the last 8-10 years, last few cycles. Seems like it's at an end now. They're heavy favorites here, plus 280. I think there's a reason for that. Netherlands on their side.
Underdogs.
Yes, underdogs. Sorry. Underdogs. Netherlands, on the other hand, seem to be maybe up and coming now. Gakpo was a huge winner in the World Cup in terms of, his performances. So I'm sure eyes will be on him again in this one. Big key change in this lineup compared to World Cup is Gini Wijnaldum healthy. So I expect to see him. He's scored lots of goals for Netherlands over the last decade or so that he's been on the squad. I think he actually leads the team in international goals by a fair amount. He has 26 in his career. I think the next highest is Van Dijk with 6. So get to see some offensive output from maybe a Wijnaldum Gakpo connection, but other than that, I think it'll be a largely possession based match.
Yeah, I think let's reflect a little bit. You and I probably got Croatia like the most wrong of any team in the World Cup. I think they burned us every time. They burned us when we bet on them. They burned us when we bet against them. We couldn't really make sense of them, right? They couldn't score against a lot of teams, and I think that
they lost to Morocco, right?
Lost to Morocco.
Yeah.
I think they drew Canada or drew Belgium or somebody. I forget who else. But I'm looking at this roster, dude, and the names are kind of blending into each other, right? They have obviously a very solid midfield. They always have,
but it's old.
I was gonna say it's old, and how tired are these guys? Because a lot of them have just made very deep runs into the Champions League.
Yeah. Actually, so sorry. They did beat Morocco. Morocco's run ended, but we were concerned about Morocco's pace against this Croatian team. And
no, didn't they play each other in group stage too, or did I make that up?
I think you may have made that up. Okay. Yes. Yeah. So they were the one that ended Morocco's run. But the reason why we were wrong, this is the one where we bet against Croatia because what Morocco had been doing with their speed had been basically, blitzing the other team's back lines. And we thought for sure that was going to happen here. But I think they managed to, I think it went to extra time, maybe. No, they won in regulation. But the point remains here is I think the midfield is old. It's slower. Netherlands, on the other hand, with Gakpo and Bergwijn, maybe even Wijnaldum, it's going to be a tough matchup for them because they're not going to be a team that sets up and tries to play over the top, play long balls into the box. They're going to be trying to play through the back line. And I think that's where they have, the potential to be exposed, especially with, some decent passing center halves like Van Dijk, who can, play that long ball and break that line. You don't really even need the ball to be in the midfield for that to happen.
Yeah. And again, I'm really wondering Brozovic and Modric in particular, both, like I said, very long European runs this year. So a lot of games played. And I'm looking at their forward line, and I just don't understand where the goals are coming from. Um,
No.
Perisic made the squad. He's 35 years old. They have Kramaric, who plays for Hoffenheim, who's seems to be pretty good for them. I think he's got 20 plus goals scored for the national team. But I think two of the other three guys, it's just like their second or first call up. So I just don't see the goals. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. For that under, it is a little chalky at this point in time, but I would lean that way. And I kind of think Netherlands win this game. I mean, if you're looking to take a side, even money on the money line isn't bad.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is Netherlands' game to win here. Another point about maybe the end of an era for Croatia is this City team didn't have a Croatian on the roster and they won the Champions League. And I think that's the first time it's happened in like
Like
almost a
11 years
decade.
or something like that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So maybe that's a sign of the times a little bit. I think their run is coming to an end here. And yeah, I think, if you want to go Netherlands money line, that's totally on board with that. I'm still sticking with the under in this case. I'll probably go under and maybe some props here. I was looking at some of the goal scorer props. Gakpo plus 200. I kind of like that with how he played in the national team during the World Cup. And to score or assist, I actually see Wijnaldum here is at plus 200.
Yeah.
So I
I,
might double up on that.
I don't hate Bergwijn at plus 300 if he's starting, I think. And listen, guys, we have no clue how these teams are going to line up. So let's, I mean, there's possible formations out there, but I think this is really a crapshoot. So depending on who scores, I think him at plus 300 is a pretty solid number. He's been really good for the national team. And I think he kind of had a resurgence since his transfer this year.
Yeah, I would totally be on board with that as well. So that's probably the angles I'm looking at here. I don't know.
Yep.
Do you see anything like creative within halves, like a first half line? Like what's the first half total looking right now?
Yeah, I really don't know. This game, I mean, I was kind of looking at cards and the numbers really, really chalky. Um, I mean, Croatia team total cards over 2.5 is plus 135. That's kind of interesting, but
All
three
right,
is a
here's one for
lot in
you.
a glorified friendly.
Do you like Netherlands money line and under 2.5 plus 280?
That's a lot of value that you've extracted.
So maybe that's the play. If you want to play something that's got a little more juice to it, you really like the under like I do, that might be the way to go.
I agree. All right. So the other semifinal is on Thursday at 2:45. Italy taking on Spain. As we all painfully remember, Italy did not feature in the World Cup. Spain went out in the round of 16
Yeah, they were pretty early.
ish. Um, so odds here, Spain is the favorite. They are plus 125. They're playing at home. Italy plus 225, draw plus 220. Um,
Oh, Spain lost to Morocco in penalties and very famously did not make a single penalty.
there you go.
Remember, they were the
Um,
world's worst PKs.
yeah,
So,
so listen, same, but maybe a little bit different Spain that we're all used to. Good midfield, good technique, ton of possession. Where are the goals coming from? I mean, as I'm looking at it, Morata is still maybe the guy that gets the start here.
yeah, I assume he will be. Kind of tough to bench him unless you have somebody ready to go. Maybe Ferran Torres, if he gets a start, he's always a guy that kind of turns up in these moments. But other than that, it's going to be kind of reliant on the midfield to have to create something that is unmissable. But the
Yeah,
total here is what the total here is under 2.5 is like minus 170, minus 175. So I think the expectation here is neither team is going to be really effective in front of goal.
yeah, it almost kind of both teams to score no is minus 130. That's I was like kind of in that realm. This almost kind of screams like 1-0 victory to Spain, maybe 2-0 victory to Spain.
You're so pessimistic on your national team, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, where the goals come from, same thing, right? What's the formation going to look like? Who's going to get in there? Who's
Yeah.
getting rest? There's
Here's the
too many
question though, Nick, is
unknowns.
if the question is where do the goals come from both sides, wouldn't you rather go with the side that has the better defense? And historically, Italy's had the better defense.
Yeah, and I think they still do. But it depends. Are we playing a couple guys who are just in the Champions League final? 5 days ago, 4 days ago, or are they starting some other guys? Are they giving some new guys a chance? Are we sticking with the 4-3-3? I just have no idea how
No,
Mancini's going to line up.
forgot the only thing Nick hates more than his national team is the 4-3-3
Yeah,
formation.
sure do. Um,
Is Chiro starting? Is he
He
available?
might be. He got called up. It's very possible. It's either going to be him
Because
or
if you have a front line of Chiro and Chiesa in some combination and Barella and Verratti behind them, that is a much more potent attacking quattro than anything that Spain is going to trot out.
yeah. No, listen, the potential's there. It's just who's going to get the nod. That's really the unknown here. And you know me, I love to lock in numbers way ahead of time before I know anything. With national teams in a game that's kind of like a quasi friendly. I mean, listen, both coaches are going to come out and say they want to win the competition. I just don't. I don't really know what to make of these lineups, and I think we kind of have to go with totals. I mean, draw no bet. Spain is super duper chalky, minus 170. Italy plus 125. If they were home, I would like that number, but I just don't know. I mean, this game screams live bet to me. Like, let's see what the
Yeah.
formations look like. Let's see who's getting the call. And I doubt we get a goal in the first 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm reading up on some of the projected lineups here. It sounds like the Inter guys are all going to be playing. So Bastoni is going to be available.
Yeah, I mean that's huge, but and I guess
DeMarco,
they're quote
Serbi,
unquote more
Barella.
in form, right, than some of the other guys. But
But the concern here is they're saying that Matteo Retegui is
Retic,
going to be starting. It's not Chiro.
yeah, and I could
So
see
now I
that. I mean,
retract that.
I think the odds on both guys to get a shot, the odds on both guys to score, it's exactly the same. I think. Listen, he's a little bit younger, a little fresher. He's not marred by the faults of this formation. But at the same time, you got to get service, right? So I think you made a great point. It really matters to me if Chiesa does get a start or who else is really going to be the flanks.
Yeah. So I think if you're looking at lines, though, I know you like Spain to win this one. Do you see any value in Spain? You taking the money line plus 125?
It's not bad. I wouldn't be mad at anybody for taking it. I'll put it that way. Spain in under 2.5 is plus 295.
Yeah, that's fair. To me, it's like if you can have Spain at plus 125 or on the money line or Italy draw no bet at plus 125,
Yeah.
that almost feels better in a game where we know goals are not going to be they're going to be a rare occurrence. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. Or even here, if you feel a little less risky, Spain winning under 3.5 is plus 145.
So you're getting an extra 20 points of juice.
Yeah, why not?
Fair. So props. I know you talked about Retegui and Immobile had the same props or same odds for anytime goal scorer plus 260 plus 280, a little bit in favor of Immobile.
Yep.
On Spain, Morata's plus 200.
No way.
No
Stay
chance.
away from that.
Staying away from
I mean,
that
that's
one.
just not good enough number to trust Morata. You and I have been burned way too many times.
Looking down for value, we've got Barella at plus 450, Chiesa
like
at plus
that.
450.
Yep.
Trying to see if there's anybody on Spain that I like that's deep down here because like Ansu Fati just got added to the squad I think this week, so I don't really love him. Man, there's not a lot of value for some of these Spanish guys.
No,
like
I will say if these guys are starting,
is plus 300. It's not terrible.
Yeah, I was going to say if these guys are starting, but it's tough because you don't know if they're getting a full 90. But I would say Verratti to get a card plus 175 is awesome. He's usually around even money. Zaniolo is plus 200. I think like that dude is a walking fucking card. But I don't know that he gets to start.
Do you have him on that?
Let's see. He is plus 400.
Jorginho to get a card is plus 400.
Yeah, and he's going to be chasing shadows, but I don't think he starts. I really don't. Okay. I don't know.
In a 4-3-3, who are your three midfielders that you think are starting?
Verratti. Third one, you can make a case for a couple of guys. I think maybe Fratesi could get it. I think very possibly Cristante's had like quietly a good year for Roma.
Saying that without coach on the pod?
Yeah. Let's see if he listens or not. We'll see tomorrow if we get the group text.
Yeah, I think Jorginho starts in this one. Like
I just think he's too slow. You can't have that much slow on the field.
Okay, tell that to Croatia.
Yeah, we'll say I wish Italy was playing them. It'd be a better matchup. Yeah, the last thing I'll say before you get to your question, this does feel like a corners game to me.
Ooh, Nikki Corners is back.
Yeah, it's only 8.5. It's a little minus 130, but I think we get to 9 corners in this one. Spain to me feels like they get 6 on their own.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say to me, if you wait for the lineups to come out and you see Jorginho in there, I would absolutely put that in at plus 400. That feels really high for me.
Yeah.
Um, I guess I would take a shot on target prop here just because, or layer in a shot on target prop just because I think if depending on who starts between Immobile and Retegui, minus 185, you can layer that in with something else,
Yep.
and that should be a good way to kind of add up your value. So whoever's starting there, take that plus the under 2.5 maybe, and you're looking at something that's like even money.
Yeah. Um, I agree.
Here,
And
I'll see what the exact odds are on that, but um, yeah, I think that's kind of where I'm leaning.
cool. I'm with you.
So who do we got in the final? You got Spain versus
Likely
Netherlands
Spain
in the
against the
final.
Netherlands. Yeah.
Since we won't have a podcast before the final on Sunday, who do you got
It,
winning?
gun to my head, Spain.
Okay, I'll take Netherlands. I think if it gets to that point, if it's I'll put it this way, I like Netherlands versus Spain. If Italy get by, I would take Italy over Netherlands.
I agree with that.
So
I think the winner of this game wins. That's like kind of my lane.
okay.
Here let's just be completely wrong. I think Croatia come in last.
Yeah, you think they lose both? They lose this
I
the
think
opening
they do.
match and the third place
So
match.
if there's a future on this, bet Croatia to win. You have limited time. Listen, I hope you're listening Wednesday morning. Take Croatia not only to win that game, take them to win the whole tournament.
Okay. I'll take Netherlands in at worst second place, maybe first place if Italy get through against Spain. Or sorry, if Spain get through against Italy. And then yeah, I'll take Croatia last place.
Cool. I like it. So all right, that's going to wrap up that portion of Europe. We'll get back to Europe in a second. We do just want to make mention there's also the CONCACAF Nations League. So this is the same exact thing that North America has put together. And we've got, I would say, 3 of the 4 best teams here at play. So USA is taking on Mexico. Canada is taking on Panama. Both games are late at night on Thursday. Um, just because I'm not looking at Canada and Panama odds in front of me, let's start with USA and Mexico. USA plus 120 favorite, Mexico plus 210. I am not sure off the top of my head where the game is. I know it's in the US. Scotty, I like the US just because this Mexico team is absolutely a disaster.
Yeah, so is the U.S. national team. They're both disasters.
Fair.
Let's not pretend
Very
like either
fair.
squad
Interim
is
coach.
talented. Yeah, but
Uh,
I will say if my boy Balogun is starting, I will absolutely take him anytime goal scorer at plus 200 because I think he is when we talk about like where the U.S. men's national team is growing and we talk about players coming over from Europe or going to Europe to develop. Balogun is a true blue like prospect that has been developed in UK for several years. He's now out in Germany. I think been playing for in the Bundesliga and
yeah, had a really good year,
um,
right?
yeah, he's been bagging goals. He's obviously part of this Arsenal young youth movement with Saka and Reece Nelson and Martinelli and I think he's every bit the part. So I think this is probably like the first real emerging U.S. men's national team starlet that I'm totally bought in on. I think he's you know every bit of scoring, a couple goals in this match. So anytime goal scorer plus 200, assuming he starts, seems like a really good bet.
Yeah, I agree. I think that'd be awesome to see it. Quite honestly, I think I know for all the shit that we talk about Christian Pulisic, if he's healthy and if he's starting, this is the type of game that he tends to thrive in. He gets a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He gets hacked an awful lot, but it's almost the type of matchup that could be won on a set piece. So he's definitely the guy that's going to be taking penalties. He takes most of the free kicks around the box. He is currently sitting at plus 320. I think that's a really, really, really good number for this game.
On board.
Um, and then I'm trying to find him. I just don't see him in front of me. But Jesus Ferreira, if the number is decent on him and he gets to start, that dude's been absolutely on fire for the past 2 years. and I think he's up to 10 goals in MLS. He's leading the league right now. Feel like he scored the last couple of friendlies for the US as well.
Yeah, I don't see him either. Are we sure
Yeah,
he's been called up?
I believe he has.
All right. Book's got to get on it because I do not see him on my list either.
Yeah, so we'll tweet that out if we find it. But yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm looking at here. I think both teams to score. It's pretty much a toss up. If you believe in Mexico to score, I think that's a good bet. Um, the winner of that one will take on Canada or Panama, and I think this one's in Canada, or excuse me, it's in Panama actually. So that could make things a little tricky, but Canada clearly the class side here.
Yeah, they should run away with this one. This one I definitely feel like is an over. I know
Yeah,
Panama's had decent defenses over the last few years. I think they've popped up here and there, but I would take a Canada team total over if you have it. I don't have it on my book right now, so
yeah. So I'm sorry, guys. Odds for this one are just they don't seem to be kind of anywhere.
yeah,
I don't know why. There's some player props out though. So Jonathan David plus 140, Kyle Laren plus 160, Alfonso Davies plus 240. David at plus 140 seems to me like a good number here.
yeah. I think we usually don't advocate for goal scorers when their odds are like less than plus
Plus
200,
200. Yep.
but in this case, I think it's as solid of a bet as you're going to get without seeing the total, right? Like if the total over 2.5 is, plus 120, then maybe that's the better bet. But
Yeah.
I think if you're getting the over in this one, David is probably going to be a goal scorer, and you might as well take the plus 140 with it.
Yeah. So sorry, looking here. I found it on another book. We usually use DraftKings just to stay consistent, but I'm seeing here Canada minus 150, Panama plus 395. Over 2.5 is plus 115. So if definitely the over at plus money, I think you have to take a shot at it. I feel like Canada get 2 goals here no matter what. They very likely could get 3. Panama could pop one in at home. I think the over is the play. If you don't get a goal in the first couple of minutes, maybe you do a little Canada money line action. But before seeing anything else, I like that over.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if Canada don't get at least one in the first half, and I think that points to the total hitting because usually the second half is a bit more open in these games.
Easy. So let's stamp that one. Canada win. I have a U.S. win in the other game. What do you agree with that?
Just a full North America sweep here. I know Mexico technically part of North America, but yeah, I think I would agree with that. I think what I'm most excited for is seeing some of these offensive players kind of gel in a little bit more. I think David, he injured a bit last was it the Gold Cup last summer? I
Definitely
think, yeah, I was gonna say I think I remember missing out a bit on a few of him, so I think good to see him back. But hopefully we see lots of goals in both of these.
agree. And if there is a U.S. Canada final, that'll be an interesting one. I would love the homer in me says U.S. would win. I think that game's pretty much a toss up at this point in time.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. And then the last thing we have over the weekend are Euro 2024 qualifiers. We're not going to go through every single game here, but Scotty, are there any bets that jump out at you?
These I
Because
don't love.
okay. I
I
have one right off the top of my head.
I think
It's the first
well,
one.
let's talk overall strategies here because I think usually here you got
Okay.
to take underdogs, right? Is that what you were thinking?
In teams that are like evenly matched ish, I always tend to go with the underdog. Definitely.
Okay, because I was thinking like my strategy here would be is I would find somebody that's maybe a bit of an underdog, like let's say Ireland versus Greece, for example, and I might take them draw no bet and get them at let's see they're
Yeah.
plus 270 money line, Ireland draw no bet plus 160. Like that's
Yeah.
probably like the strategy that I would take.
So I would even go a step further and I'd probably take them double chance away. And I'm guessing they're like minus 130, minus in that
Yeah.
realm.
Yep.
So yeah, I turn that tie into a win. That's kind of where I go in that scenario.
What are you looking at? What was the one that you loved? You said the one
Yeah, I think
stood out to you.
Ukraine against North Macedonia. Ukraine just played Germany really well. They scored 3 goals. I think, this is an opportunity for just a
feel like this is a
country.
vendetta against North Macedonia since they knock
No,
out
no, not even
Italy.
that. Just North Macedonia are very good, and
Right,
I
now
think you
I'm taking North Macedonia plus 180 draw no bet.
take them. But Ukraine is minus 105 on the money line. I think that's too good of a number. I think they get it done here.
Looking at some of the other underdog potential. So like, listen, there's gonna be some that we don't touch. Like, Gibraltar versus France, obviously not touching anything there. Um, Scotland, Norway. I don't know.
Tough,
Norway's plus 100 on the
so
money
tough.
line. Scotland plus 265. This one I don't know that I could take. I feel like this almost feels like a trap line because I would have thought Norway would have been minus 150 or worse in this
Yeah,
scenario.
listen, we've seen Norway click on all cylinders. When Pookie's playing well, I don't know if he's called up or still playing. He's getting up there in age. And I've seen them score 2 or 3 goals. There's been games where I've bet on them and they just can't hit the net. So that to me is almost a take a Scotland double chance or draw no bet. I feel like that number is a little too disrespectful to Scotland.
Okay, can I entice you with a bet against Belgium?
Always.
Austria double chance is plus 125 against Belgium.
That one's a little bit tougher, but I think if they were at home, I would like it. Away to Belgium, possible. I just don't
No
know.
De Bruyne. De Bruyne's hurt.
Oh, there you go. Probably Lukaku isn't starting because
Well, I don't know if
that
that's
dude
in
can't run.
favor or
Yeah,
against.
fair enough. Um, no, we closed the door on that golden generation a while ago. So yeah, you're right. You know what? You can talk me into it. I will take Austria draw no bet in this game, or excuse me, double
Double
chance in this
chance
game.
plus 125.
Yep.
And then are there any favorites that you'd be willing to ship goals on? So like Portugal versus Bosnia, for example.
Yeah, hold
Portugal.
on. So the last thing I'll say, I do kind of like Bulgaria away to Lithuania. That's a messy. I know Scotty's already thinking it like that's a messy game. You can't fucking name 2 players on the
You
teams,
just took
right?
the words out.
Like
I was gonna say,
yeah,
if
I
you
know
can
what
give
you're
me
gonna
two
say.
names, I'll take what you're saying
No,
seriously.
but I think Bulgaria historically is definitely a tougher side. And I think plus 125 is a decent number on them in this one. So um probably would go there. In
Okay.
terms of favorites, I'm sorry.
So I was gonna bring up Portugal versus Bosnia. Portugal's at home. Portugal's
Okay.
minus two is even money.
Eh, eh.
No? Can't sell you on that one?
eh.
No,
That's
that's a
tough.
no. No,
That's
that's a
tough. That's
no.
a great line. Like kudos Vegas. You made a dynamic line. I love
Yeah,
it.
the problem there is the minus two. If it was minus 1.5, I'd be all over
Minus
it.
one and a half,
But
I would take it. Yep,
yeah,
agree.
but minus 1.5 in this scenario, it's like minus 160, minus 170. So
Yeah,
maybe that's
no,
what you do. You could do that. You can like do a little fun little parlay. But other than that, I mean, the other favorites here, like Switzerland and Andorra, that's too much. England, Malta, that's too much.
yeah,
Like Kazakhstan is as minus 1,000 against San Marino. Like you can't touch that.
yeah. Tough
Turkey
round.
versus Latvia, maybe. It's the only other one that I would maybe consider. Turkey, if you want to take them, minus 1.5, that's even money
That's not
against
bad.
Latvia.
That's not bad.
So maybe
Is it?
that's
It's in Turkey? No, it's in Latvia.
no, it's in
Gotta be.
Latvia.
Okay.
Yep, in Latvia. So I'm saying these are like they feel like dart throws most of the time, which is why I
Definitely.
like to just go with the underdogs. If you can find an underdog that you can kind of sell yourself on, that's usually what I roll with these.
Yeah. No, listen. If I had to make picks, and I mean that's why everybody's listening, right? I like Ukraine money line. I like um Ireland double chance at Greece. I think that's good. I like Bulgaria plus 125 money line. And I would go again with Scotland, the double chance. So I think two double chance, two money line. Those would be my picks.
All right, fair enough.
It would just if you like, do you like goals outside of the obvious mismatches? Right, we know France is going to put up 4 goals on Gibraltar. Right, outside of that, is there anything where you see?
I was just gonna say England team total is over 3.5 against
Right,
Malta.
tough.
Yeah, in that case, it's just like go goal scorer props. If you want to get like Harry Kane to get a brace there, that's plus 110. So I don't see how England
Yeah.
get 4 goals in this one if Harry Kane isn't getting a few. If you want to just take Harry Kane to score at all, I think it's minus 160.
Ooh.
But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, anyway, keep keep your eyes on Twitter. We'll definitely Friday and Saturday we'll tweet some stuff out as these lineups come out and as the numbers shift a little bit. But
Yeah.
anything else, Scotty?
No, I mean, I think we're gonna have a fun summer schedule here. I think we'll try to keep it interesting. We'll be doing some club state of the clubs with some of our guests of weeks past. We'll be obviously up to date on all things transfer. I think we talked about maybe starting some transfer rumors of our own, since you really don't have to have any credentials these days to come up with a rumor. So maybe the first one we're going to start, as I think Nick heard from some of his sources at Lazio, that they're actually meeting with Kylian Mbappe's agent in Paris this week.
Yep. He's on the outs at PSG. So
maybe
Lotito is all over it.
Something we'll keep an eye on. A potential Mbappe to Lazio, finished second in the Serie A last season. Could this be the move that gets them to the top?
Yeah, got to spend that Champions League money. No, you can't knock him.
And I think the rumor fee is it's going to be a swap of Chiro and 60 million euros. I think that's the rumor fee right now.
So got to do it at this point. So yeah, we're be on the lookout for that stuff. Transfers, MLS. I don't know if you guys heard, there's been some big news out of that league. So that transfer window should be pretty interesting. We don't slow down in the summer, so we appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. Please give us a like, a retweet, a subscribe, a follow, and we will, after we win you money this week, we will catch you guys next week.